Welcome to WrestleMania 12, the show where only one match really mattered. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another edition of WrestleMania Review Series. We're going to go into WrestleMania 12, taking place in LA, Anaheim to be exact. This was, to me, a solid card. It really only mattered with one match. When you have an Iron Man match in a show, that's really the only match that people care about, especially when that match just happens to be an hour. And I believe this is gonna be the only time they will ever do this. They could do it now when that WrestleMania is 2 nights. They could just fill up one card and then put like other mini matches and then make an hour. But let's just never do an Iron Man match at WrestleMania. Not to say that they're bad, it's just that they do take up a good chunk of the show, and everything else just kind of feels irrelevant. And it kind of sucks because there are some good matches, good moments on this show, but really only people talk about is the main event. For the most part, this show did its job of making that main event feel special. Everything else that was on the card was entertaining, or there was nothing really bad on the show except for one awful squash match. But other than that, I can't really fault the show. They did the best they could with what they had. It was unfortunate the tag team titles were cut short, or they were actually on the dark show, I should say. But with what they got, I was pretty satisfied, if I'm being honest. Uh, I actually did a calculation of every match prior to the Iron Man match, and it has a total runtime of 57 minutes. For the most part, they did their job. Like I said, let's just go into the show. No America the Beautiful, they were very heavy on just putting everything out and then having the Iron Man match take up most of the show. But the first match that we do have is Team Cornette versus Team Yokozuna. Team Cornette has British Bulldog, Owen Hart, and Vader. Team Yokozuna had Yokozuna, Ahmed Johnson, and Jake Roberts. The rumor was that it was supposed to be Vader versus Yokozuna, but Yokozuna wasn't fully cleared to wrestle a full length match by himself, so that's why they added Owen and Bulldog, Ahmed Johnson and Roberts. And this was pretty good. I mean, really, Owen Hart comes back as a baby face, kind of his redemption arc. British Bulldog being one of the top faces at the time. And then Jake Roberts was the more established. Too bad they were burying him up around this point. This is the time where he was getting constantly buried. He's the one that took the pinfall on this match. Vader was a good showing for who he was, so I really enjoyed that. Ahmed Johnson, I thought he would be in the IC title picture around this time, but I guess not. This match was, like I said, it was very enjoyable. It was a solid 10 minutes. The storyline here was that Jim Cornette, or Yokozuna, got tired of Jim Cornette's shenanigans. He was threatening to kick his ass. Actually, if this match happened and Yokozuna's team won, then Yokozuna would have gotten Jim Cornette in a one-on-one match by himself. But thankfully for Cornette, that didn't happen, but it was very entertaining. It had a stipulations to an extent. It had something of value, so that's what I miss about matches, like matches that happen with value, not just some random match thrown together, and I really enjoyed it. So, good opener. Then we get to the funniest match on the card. Roddy Piper versus Goldust. I heard that this was supposed to be Razor Ramon and Goldust. I don't know if he had left for WCW or he was injured. What was the story there? No, he didn't go to WCW because the curtain call happened not that long after this. But Roddy Piper and Goldust fight in the Hollywood Backyard Brawl. They fight in a parking lot. Then Goldust escapes and then he takes off. And basically, the first half of the show is really Roddy Piper and Goldust. I'm actually shocked that the match is only, it says here, for 60 minutes. I could have sworn it would have been longer, given the fact that everything else was just kind of like around them. Unless it was one of those things where like the match happened here, it ended, and then it just kept going. I don't know how you time this sort of match. It was kind of weird, but this was actually really cool that they did this. Like basically throughout the show, they're chasing each other down. They actually mocked the OJ car chase. Eventually, they find themselves in the ring. They brawl. Roddy Piper rips Goldust. He's wearing a lingerie. He's getting his ass kicked. It was comedy gold, and Roddy Piper eventually wins, and he gets a big WrestleMania moment. And I was really enjoying this. I don't think if this was Razor and Goldust, I don't know if this would have had the same pop that it got. I'm actually shocked that they didn't even put the IC title on the line, or at least have somebody else be the IC champion walking into the tag match. Yeah, the IC champion lost clean, and he's still the champion. That's the only thing I would say was not good, if I'm being honest. Then we get Steve Austin, the ringmaster, as they called him, versus Savio Vega. I thought this was for the $1 million championship, but I guess not. It was just a regular one-on-one match. It was just to put Steve Austin over against Savio Vega, and Ted DiBiase was on uh, Steve Austin's corner. This match, it had some good wrestling. They had better matches later on the year, but this was around the time where Roddy Piper and Goldust shenanigans were taking over a good chunk of the show. So it felt like all the attention was there. Even the commentators put all their attention on Piper and Goldust. This was just kind of something on the side. But regardless, it was good to see Austin make his debut at WrestleMania and winning against Savio Vega. And then we move on to hands down the worst match of this entire show. Ultimate Warrior comes back, or I don't know if this was the time where they were two Ultimate Warriors or whatever. We didn't know if it was the same guy, but he beat Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H. I like that they years later they made a story out of this with Sheamus and Triple H. Um, but I thought this was bad. They were supposed to build up a new star. Triple H hits Ultimate Warrior with a pedigree. He just gets back up and then he gets squashed. Very embarrassing for Triple H. So kind of ironic that he gets buried first, and then years later he ends up burying the entire Raw roster. Diesel versus The Undertaker, and this was a really enjoyable match. Two big men fighting. Basically the story is simple. Diesel has been the Undertaker countless, and Undertaker needs to beat him, and it was a good big man match. I was really enjoying this. Is like the first really good Undertaker match at WrestleMania. So, and there was a massive improvement from King Kong Bundy last year. So I can't really get mad about that. On to the main event. Bret the Hitman Hart, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, 60-minute Iron Man match, and for the WWF Championship. I am very conflicted on this match. A lot of people have said that this is one of the greatest matches of all time. Some people say it's an overrated match. Some people say it's flat out bad. It's kind of funny that Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, while they have amazing chemistry, their two most popular matches are also their two most divisive matches. This one and the Montreal Screwjob, of course. Let's just talk about it. So we start off with Jose Lothario walking over, and we're like, "Where's Shawn Michaels?" Then he gets up and then he points up, and then Shawn Michaels has possibly one of the greatest entrants of all time. From the rafters, just flying out to the crowd. Bret Hart comes out, and this was like the story of two top baby faces trying to overcome each other. I hated this one part where I forgot the name of the referee, but basically he is over explaining the hell out of these rules. I'm like, dude, like, come on, we're going overtime. Let's just wrap it up. And basically the match happens, and I believe the first couple of Iron Man matches were in house shows, so this was like um the first ever televised Iron Man match, and especially in a grand stage like this. And like I said, for years this was to many people one of the greatest matches of all time, and then over time it became this overhated match. I never thought it was 5 stars. I'm not just saying that, but it's really hard to enjoy an hour long Iron Man match. I'm gonna be very honest. I tend to like just watch highlights or just it's hard to sit through these. Like I can sit through a match that goes 30 45 minutes if the attention's there. Example, Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth. That match was 45 minutes. And I enjoyed it and I can rewatch that. But I think the idea of knowing that this match is gonna go an hour, it just kind of already puts you to rest. But this match, for the most part, it did a good job of showing Bret and Shawn Michaels' chemistry. They showed that they can go at it in the ring. The only truly complaint was the fact that it was 0-0 at the end. I think that hurt the match the most. Um, and for the most part, it never felt that Shawn and Bret were trying to get pinfalls on each other. For the most part, it was just them showing off their moves. Um, like example, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, they basically the whole match they were trying to get the pinfall, but then they were both tired themselves out. They kind of did that here, but not to an extent. I think for this to be the first televised Iron Man match, it needed to be like some people get pinfall, some people don't. Like it could be cool, like if Shawn Michaels gets the first pinfall and Bret Hart's like, "Oh my God, I could actually lose the title. Let me try to get that pinfall back," and then it's 1-1, and then you can continue from there. The fact that it was just 0-0, it kind of hurt the match. It really did. But finally, the match, when we get to the end, Bret Hart puts Shawn Michaels in the sharpshooter. Will he tap out? He won't. Jerry Lawler kept being like, no, he's going to tap out. He tapped out, and then sure enough, he didn't. We go into a draw. Gorilla Monsoon, who becomes the president of WWF at the time, he comes out, and then he goes, no, absolutely not. We are not ending the show like this. We will be going sudden death overtime. Shawn Michaels manages to get up. He hits switching music. 1, 2, 3. Shawn Michaels is your new WWF champion. The boyhood dream has come true. So for the moment, and the match itself isn't horrible. I can enjoy it to an extent. I think if it was tweaked a little bit, maybe it could have been one of the greatest matches of all time. I do enjoy this match. Again, not a match that I would go back and watch, but I do enjoy it. Not the greatest match in the world. For me, my match of the night was Undertaker Diesel. Just two big men fighting. Yeah, I can't really fault this. And unfortunately, 1996 is not a good year for WWF. But 1997 and 1998, that becomes where it hits its peak. So I can't really get mad about that. So we're moving on to greater things. But overall, this show, it really only mattered for one show, and that one match, which did deliver for me. I thought it was a good match, not a great match, and not my match of the night. I can't really fault it. And then the rest of the undercard was solid, minus Warrior and Triple H. So for me, I'm going to have to give this show a B. A simple B, nothing, no minus, no plus, just a B show. Enjoyable for what it was. Anyways, let's move on to WrestleMania 13. See you later.